Hello there, welcome to the first episode of Sacred Success with me, Annie Makomuni. This is a program that highlights biblical blueprints for success. Together with my co host and designer of the program, Apostle Lefford Divine, General Overseer and Senior Pastor of Wisdom Center International. We're going to be bringing you strong biblical principles that you can apply in every sphere of life to get to that productivity and success. And when we talk sphere, we are looking at your relationship as a family person in the corporate world, and why not with friends. So let's welcome the apostle with the word. Good
Thank
morning.
you. Thank you, Madam Commoner. Um, it's always beautiful to have you. And I think this is really a very timely and important program
Okay.
that as the episodes keep on unfolding, many people are going to see how we can be able to gain wisdom, leadership skills, and those hidden success strategies and systems and success schemes, success traits, attributes that are hidden, or that, yes, that are hidden, because what is hidden needs to be unveiled, which we can apply. The truth about the matter is, many people apply this. You see, principles work no matter who or where you are. Just like how you don't need to be a Christian, for example, to have a successful marriage. If you know the principles, it works. Just like how, if you know the principles of agriculture, and under favorable conditions like soil, weather, and everything, no matter who you are, it means if you're the most wicked person on this earth, you plant granite, it will grow. If
Okay.
you are the most righteous person on this earth, you plant granite, it will grow. So because the principles are there of seed time, harvest, rain, cohesion. So when we understand principles, many people, even non-biblical, even non-Christians, they know these things, they apply them, and I think we can be able to dig deep into this, into the most wisdom bank, and that wisdom bank called the Bible, that has this amazing success attributes and secrets that the righteous and God-knowing men of old applied. And we can see it even reading the Bible. Even some of these reasons were applied even by people who were non-Jews, and
Okay.
it worked for them. It is written down, we can learn, and we are going to look at them. And I think it's going to affect, like you said, the diverse aspects of our life, in the corporate world, in our work. And we are going to look past religion to having practical principles for success today.
Of course, when we talk principles, we are linking them to some great destinies that were unfolded in the Bible. We have the honor of bringing in the man who rose from slavery or from the prison to the throne. And the apostle tells me, and as he's going to be telling us now, that there was a character trait he exhibited that took him to that throne. Let's find out as we meet him to tell us. We give him the honor to tell us what we are discussing on today.
Yes. Thank you so much. Once more, this is a great privilege. For those of you who are just watching, I am Lefford Divine, Apostle Lefford Divine, the General Overseer and Senior Pastor of Wisdom Center International here in Boya, Cameroon. Um, I have, I remember one time I did a sermon
Okay.
on this, and I began to show people, because unfortunately, when you read the Bible just with a limited religious view, you can actually be blinded from seeing the reality. In fact, that's what happened to the Pharisees and the scribes. They read the scriptures, but they could not see and understand Jesus right in front of them, because when you read or with veil, you don't see clearly what has been there. And one of the things that we rarely see, I'm going to read, is a character trait. Unfortunately, people focus. We're talking about the man Joseph.
The man Joseph from the
Please.
prison to the palace.
Yes.
And there was something that was hidden.
Yes, very inspiring story. We many time we preach, many time we teach, we talk about the man Joseph, and there's sometimes we talk about him. For example, you will talk about the fact that he could not be seduced by a woman. A lot of times, some people think it's just the fact that Joseph ran away from a woman that took him to the top. But we saw people who ran towards women and still had some success. It's there in the Bible.
Okay.
So it does not, we I know a lot of time. I think we're also going to, one time we're going to talk about, strangely, we're going to talk about the man called Samson. And I'm going to show people that he was a very successful man. contrary to what people think.
Okay.
Yes, and another another thing. So when we mentioned that there is the Solomon with the 700 wives and all of that, so there is that piety of Joseph. That's sexual purity.
Mm-hmm.
That's we are inspired. We're inspired as a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
All necessary principles of success, but these are very common things.
Mm-hmm.
We are also inspired by the fact that he was persistent. He never gave up, though he went from to the pit, to being sold as a slave, and all of that.
The prison.
That's awesome. Then they came to the place where he was imprisoned, and after that he came. Another thing that they say is that he could interpret dreams, which was his gift.
Yeah.
Which made room for him. Take note, a man's gift makes way for him.
Okay.
So he kept using his gift, because what brought him before the king was his gift.
Yeah.
Which is another beautiful side, because your gift is not necessarily your calling, or your gift is not, it can be linked to achieving your purpose, but it's not necessarily your purpose. It gave him access, and you see him achieving his dream through all of that. But that's a beautiful thing. But there was one thing which many people missed out, and that thing is actually what enthroned him. It was part of the secret of Joseph's life throughout his life, and I'm going to show you in a few minutes, because it's not supposed to be a very long episode.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you that it was a consistent thing in his life, and I will highlight one or two others in the Bible who had that same characteristic and how it helped them to succeed. And it's something that today we are missing out. Unfortunately, today we pick up a lot of bad character, bad habits on social media. There's a lot of people telling you stuff. And I will show you how many people who are gifted, talented, intelligent, yet have not broken the ceiling of going up, because they don't know this. They are smart, but they have missed out on all of this, especially in today's world where there is a lot of gaslighting, there's a lot of promoting
information overload.
Yes, and people are cracking and just feeling they don't know what to do. Many people have, with lacking these attributes, have missed out on the practical ways to succeed. Do you know something? Let me tell you something that many people don't know. The Beatitudes, which is Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are they, blessed are they. I think during my 21 days of wisdom, which I always have at the beginning of the year, I had to talk about this attribute. In fact, the Beatitudes is Jesus showing you the blessedness of particular attribute.
Wow. I think that makes sense.
Are you getting me? The blessedness, the things enwrapped in having. He says, for example, he said, blessed are the meek, they will inherit the earth. It means that to be meek, to be humble, gives you access to what this earth holds, the inheritance on this earth. You understand? He said, blessed are the pure in heart. It means if your heart is not clouded by impurities like what? Hate, anger, malice, you'll be able to see God. See God does not mean you see a person. You see the reality of God in your life and all of that. Are you getting me? These are the blessedness of attributes. So it means there are attributes that when you possess, it brings a blessedness in your life. So let's look at the one for today. Let's turn to Genesis chapter 41.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 41. I'm going to read a verse, then I will come back to the entire passage. Normally we'll read from verse 33 to verse 40. Let me just rush through it because that's our anchor scripture very quickly. From verse 33, it says, now therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh look out for a man what? Discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. I'm going to take note of that. I'm going to come to it. The person needs to be intelligent, discreet, and wise. Okay? Then let Pharaoh do this and let him appoint officers over the land. That means the person who has been put in charge will now appoint officers over the land and take up the fit part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. Verse 36, that the food will be stored to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not throughout the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants. Verse 38, and Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. So therefore thou shalt be over my house, and according to thy word shall all my people be ruled. In fact, only in the throne will I be greater than thou. It means that Joseph comes from the prison, and by the time he is done with that conversation, the king makes him in charge of his house personally, and in charge of the land. There are two things. He makes him in charge of his house. Very crucial.
Okay.
Then he makes him in charge of the entire land. And then he says, in fact, you will run things in this nation. I am only above you in the throne. The one running things is you. This is still the same thing that happened in Potiphar's house, where Potiphar gave Joseph charge of everything. What is it about this boy? Is it just about that he could dream and prophesy? Because I always tell people, it's not just the prophecy that made Joseph to reign.
Okay.
Many people can prophesy, can foretell, can dream dreams, can have visions,
can interpret.
But how many people can bring the wisdom necessary? But that's not all. That's why sometimes some people would do things and they wonder why someone else was chosen. Because there are hidden traits that a system knows is required beyond intelligence to be able to achieve and run things.
Okay.
Which I'm going to show you. And it's highlighted in that first verse I read, and around verse 39. The first verse says that choose a man that is discreet and wise. Take note, who is talking? Joseph. Joseph is advising Pharaoh that following this problem, Joseph has just, the background of the story is a popular story. Remember, Pharaoh has had a dream.
Yeah.
And nobody could interpret.
Yeah.
And that's when the person that Joseph interpreted his dream, when they were in prison, the butler, remember that there was a young man in prison and called for Joseph. Joseph is cleaned up and brought in. And now Joseph begins to interpret the dream of Pharaoh and tells Pharaoh that you have had these two dreams. This is what it means, that there will be 7 years of famine and there will be 7 years of plenty. Okay? But before the 7 years of famine, there will be 7 years of plenty. Telling him that that's good news and that you have seen it 2 times because it's about to happen soon. Okay, so this is the interpretation, but now this is the wisdom. What you will need to do is you will need to look for somebody who is discreet and wise. Now, this was the characteristic of the person who will run that program. They did not say the person who is good in agriculture.
Person who can interpret dreams.
The person who can interpret dreams.
Who is talented.
So it means that this criteria is required. Why? He had just opened up a secret of global importance.
Okay.
Take note, this is Egypt. Egypt is like America now. The headquarters of the world. The cradle of civilization. They just had insight that after these 7 years of much food and agricultural and increase, there's going to be 7 years of global recess. Now they have information that puts them... Intel, that's the word. I love that word. They have intel that puts them ahead of the world. Now, it means anybody running that program needs to have a trait, a character trait called discretion.
And that is what we're going to be talking about today. How you can apply discretion in systems and breakthrough for you to be that person that your system can depend on. So let's look at the word discretion,
yes,
what it talks about, and how important it is and how it should be used by individuals who find themselves in family settings, because we need discretion even
in families, in churches, in the government, in fact, every system needs discretion. I'm going to explain why. So, first of all, discretion talks about the quality of being discreet. One definition says the ability to make wise choices and decisions. That's one of the definitions. But I want us to look at that quality of being discreet, right? And one definition here, I'm just reading from one of the definition here. Online says respectful of privacy or secrecy, exercising caution in order to avoid causing embarrassment.
Okay, you respect secrecy.
That means
privacy.
It's a secrecy. We're talking about respectful of privacy.
Privacy.
Yes, or secrecy. Exercising caution in order to avoid causing embarrassment.
I like the cause and effect.
Yes.
The embarrassment is the effect if you're not...
One other word they're using is diplomatic.
Okay.
Please, it's very important.
Diplomatic.
Now, let me explain this in the fewest words. I'm trying my best to not extend this, but to stir up somebody's mind there.
Okay.
A lot of times in today's world, they tell you, Go on, say your truth. Speak your mind. In fact, you have the right to air whatever is going on in your mind.
Okay.
This has happened to a lot of people, and they have disqualified themselves for certain positions where they belong, and they don't know why. You wonder why you are working so hard in your company, yet they can never promote you. Not because you're not working hard. You have all the skills, you have the intelligence, yet they know that you going up is a risk to that
Because
company.
there is something they call causing embarrassment.
Yes.
You will say
Discretion,
things.
because no system is perfect.
Okay.
And if everything about a system was just being put out there, there would be no room for correction. Because everybody, you would already conclude. Let me tell you something. Imagine every mistake you have made was made public to the whole world. You will not be where you are today, because there would be no room for correction, for growth. And are you understanding what I'm saying? And that is why even parents know discretion, yet they forget it so soon. How many parents have watched their child steal something in the house? Yet, how many went to social media to go and announce that my child is a thief? No, they did not. They did not tell a neighbor. They corrected some beat, some disciplines very well. Yet, discretion tells you that you can hinder that child's progress and advancement by people having that information to such a way that even if that person finally changes, it can still be a hindrance.
But somebody will be asking out there that wouldn't it be about covering evil?
I'm coming. Let me first of all show you how is Joseph discreet.
Okay.
Please, let me show you.
All right.
Are you getting me? I was saying something here. Joseph, let me tell you what happened. Joseph has just interpreted a king's dream. Joseph has just shared wonderful wisdom to a king. And the king goes back and asks himself, my God, who is this boy? Take note, you can't meet certain personalities without background check. Are you getting me? This man starts asking himself questions. Who is this young man?
Who is this young man?
And then he asks here and there. And the first question he has to go back when Joseph talks is, what was this guy put in prison for?
Why was he in prison?
Why was he in prison?
Is he a criminal?
Why? Exactly. Because they cannot just tend. Why is this man in prison? He goes and does his finding here and there and discover that Joseph is put in prison while he was in Potiphar's house. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And for sleeping with Potiphar's wife. Take note, that's the reason Joseph is in prison.
Yeah. No innocence is proven.
No.
The reason is
The reason is he is put in prison and he has been there for years because the allegation is he has tried to rape
Potiphar's wife.
Potiphar's wife. That is what Potiphar's wife said. So forget about whether it's true or not. What we know about Joseph is he's a rapist. Am I right? How would people today advise Joseph?
Pharaoh.
No. What will people today advise Joseph if he's in that situation?
Say your truth.
Say your truth. Go out there and tell people what happened. Go to social media. I might even word today, Joseph will go live on Facebook and tell people I will be coming out by 10 p.m.
Tell my own version of the story.
By 10 p.m. to tell people. But can I shock you? From the time Joseph is in prison to this day he's talking to Pharaoh, Joseph has never said his own side of the story. Now, the average person will look at as a weakness, yet the system could recognize it as a success trait and a sacred one, and that gave him a position where he runs an entire nation.
Because he needed somebody who was discreet.
Good.
And according to Pharaoh's demands, he needed somebody that would rule over his house too.
His house too.
It means that some things will happen in his house that
he knows. Things are happening, not some things will happen. Things are already happening.
Oh.
He needs somebody like that. But what happens? For the very first time, somebody has asked Joseph's side of the story. I can picture this. So, I can picture. Because Pharaoh will not just get up and say, Joseph, rule. When he asks that question, then he comes now to Joseph. Young man, I heard you raped, or you tried to rape.
Your Oga's wife.
Yes.
Your master's wife.
What happened? And now, Joseph, who knows the principle of discretion, knows now that talking to Pharaoh, who is Potiphar's boss, one is not gossip.
Mm-hmm.
You see, gossip is when you share something not relevant to somebody or who does not have direct effect or impact on it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, sharing to Potiphar's juniors and their other brethren that say, now, Madam B1 raped me, has only done one thing. Because those people cannot go to correct Madam.
It has done what we say causing embarrassment.
Now you're getting it. So it will only cause embarrassment to who? To Potiphar, that office that he was sworn to protect. Because when information go out, what would they say? You know, say governor a woman. Some man sleep with them. You know, say that director of so. You know, say colonel
People will
this,
take
this.
it, and reception theory will come in where people's interpretation will be different.
Whether the interpretation is different or not, you have brought embarrassment to an office. Yeah, you're not understanding me.
I get you.
It is, you have embarrassed Potiphar.
As a person.
It's not only as a person. If it was just a person, it's different. You have brought embarrassment to that office.
Okay.
So not only Potiphar is affected. That is the beauty. The government, it means when he is being discreet, he is not only protecting Potiphar, he's protecting the system, and the government.
The system he later had to serve.
Yes. And it's the system he swore to. So him not talking is not because he's covering what happened, but he knows that his talking will cause greater issue. Because even the people under, highest thing they know is that what? They will start disrespecting either madam or madam and boss. One day you want to say, now you want to allow some picking. He says, she don't for the picking to make their thing. You know, no say, madam, the worker, they for the whole week for us. But just imagine that.
Wow.
Are you understanding what this is? I wish somebody out there catches this. This is the power. This is one thing it's not preached about. This is the only thing. Oh, Joseph ran away. Joseph could have run, and take note, Joseph ran away and forgot, left his dress. Today they will tell you, somebody will tell you, 10 p.m. I will bring my own side of the story. Please, nobody should sleep. I will be on by 10 p.m. to tell you people really what went down.
We are all guilty. A majority of us are guilty of this.
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for once, he now tells the king, sir, I will tell you something nobody knows. The king said, what? What does nobody know? He says, sir, madam did this, but I'm only telling you because I know you're bigger than that. Because the king cannot be embarrassed by what his junior does. And he is in the power to correct, make adjustment, and
give room for improvement.
And he, the king, cannot go and destroy his position, cannot allow him to run that, to use that information against the system. Because
he's the overall protector of the system.
So Joseph now tells the king, sir, there is something nobody knows. He said, what? This is actually what happened. But I did not say a word because I knew the implications. That's why I've been in prison all these years. The king said, what? I need this boy on my team.
Because the requirement was to get somebody who is discreet. And
he knows that he forget about what has happened. The king knows that to be on the team, when you see you see particular ministers being shuffled here and there, it's not because they don't lack people. They know, the government, your president knows that these are the people who will do anything for this government. They are the people who know the shit, who have taken the literal smell of it and have swallowed it.
And they are still going to.
Yes. So the more he's talking, so while an average person will be calling Joseph stupid, the man in authority, the system, sees it as a strength. So that very thing that many people would have lost. So the day you are going and you're talking, this is my truth, this is my this, company A, this is watching and they have marked X. Nowadays, before they employ you, one of the first places they go is your social media handle.
I've read of a story where a lady's marriage was cancelled because
of a comment.
The comment she made was, if she can sleep with somebody for maybe 5 million, That was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's getting married now. Somebody
Just
snapped
screenshot
and sent to him. I'll say, okay,
I can't do that.
I can.
You understand? So this is the reality. But many people did not see this. Some people think the reward was just because, listen to me, you can, just because you are sexually pure does not translate to money. I used to tell people this. Virginity does not mean you will get married to a good man. Reward for virginity. If you don't still build your emotional intelligence and your mental, you will still go choose idiot.
And he will disvirgin you, and then now you no longer be.
That's not even the point. Even if he marries a virgin, it does not make him good. You can still make a wrong choice. There are ladies who kept themselves pure. While people are doing hookup, they did not do hookup, but they are still broke. Because the reward for not doing hookup is not riches. Are you understanding what I'm saying? There are certain attributes that will give you access to certain heights. So many a times people have pushed others to manifest foolishness in the name of wisdom. Nowadays, people tell you, you are hiding, you are covering. I'm going to show you, because of time, I'm going to show you some few examples in the scripture. Can I do that? Now, I would like us to read Proverbs chapter 2. Let's just hear something what the Bible talks about discretion. Proverbs chapter 2, verse number 11. Let me read this. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 11. If you're watching, you can check
you can be
yourself.
Taking down the verses so that you will check and get acquainted with it.
Hear what it says. Discretion shall preserve thee. Understanding shall keep thee. Discretion can preserve your life. Are you understanding me? Do you know that something worse could have happened to Joseph had he walked around and began to talk evil about Potiphar and his
They would
wife?
have killed him. Very correct. They would have killed him.
Because
of the embarrassment he will cause.
Because take note, you are not embarrassing Potiphar. You are embarrassing the system. There are people that are bigger than individuals. There are people that are representative of systems. The reason the governor takes a helicopter or walks with big coverage is not because he has 4 eyes. It's not because he's bigger than you. It's because of what he represents.
The system.
The system. Are you understanding? Okay. Psalms 112. Let me just show you some passages about this question. Psalms 112. Psalms 112, verse 5. It says, a good man showeth favor. I'm reading from the King James Version. Every passage I'm reading from King James Version. A good man showeth favor and lendeth. He will guide his affairs with discretion. You guide your affairs. A good man, somebody who has sense, you guide your affairs with discretion. I tell you, as a relationship expert, yes, they call me the love doctor. For those of you who have heard that. Now, I will tell you, as a counselor, also with over 10 years plus experience, and I've counseled people from over 45 countries. I will tell you this. Many marriages have gotten to the point of no return, to that point of destruction, just because of lack of discretion. There are things, had it not been in the open, could have been fixed behind the scene.
Because the strength is improvement.
Yes, but because it was brought out to the open. In fact, one partner brought out something and the other person said, you want talk now, or we go talk. Are you getting me? And then they now weaponized themselves. You carried weapons and gave. How can you want people to respect your husband when all of your husband's weaknesses have been shared to all your friends? No, tell me.
So, call it watering.
Are you getting me? So the day you even stand to want to praise the husband and say, Master, there, Master too. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. You have weaponized. You carry your problem. Let me give an example. There's a couple called Jay-Z and Beyonce. Two superstars, two mega stars. They are still together. Now it's a shock that they are still together. Have had 3 kids together. The one time I think was a twin. They have 3 kids together. They are still together. Yet we know very little about their relationship. When there are people not half of that star, that means in Cameroon they have not even touched stardom. Yet everything about their life is on social media. So you see that you can navigate certain things because of discretion.
Preserve yourself.
Preserve. But because when it comes out, you start giving people opportunity to throw in opinions. You have weaponized others. So if some of these things were hidden, right?
With the aim of improvement.
Improvement. When I say hidden, we are talking about behind the scenes. Are you understanding me? For example, Joseph did not keep it forever. When he could talk to the right person, he talked. There were things that were supposed to have been able to talk only to therapists. Only to therapists. There were things that only therapists should have listened to. There were things that only counselors could have listened to. There were things that only maybe pastors could have listened to. That it could have stayed behind the scene and then created an avenue for transformation and improvement. Yet you threw it to any kind of person. Let's read maybe one more.
Hope you are enjoying yourselves in the company of Sacred Success as the Apostle left for Divine Consultant and Leadership Coach, and myself at Nim Akomone, the journalist we're bringing to you. It's our way of improving on your mental health and the welfare of the society for productivity. Stay with us.
The Bible says, for his God, talk about how God, for his God doth instruct him to discretion and doth teach him. Means God teaches men to be discreet.
Okay.
Are you getting that? And then Proverbs chapter 11 verse 22. Let me show you something. Now we'll just talk about emotional intelligence. See what it says biblically. Remember this sacred success. I'm trying to show you.
Yeah, we
the
go
biblical
deep.
blueprint. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 22. It says, as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout. It means in a pig's snout. So is a fair woman, a beautiful woman without discretion. That means a pig with a golden ring. That's how a woman without discretion is. Now imagine this. Let me give you just, I think we're running up, our time should be up. So let me just give you 2 or 3 examples of discretion. Let me use David, the man after God's heart. Okay? Do you know that before David became king, David had an opportunity twice to see the madness of Saul? David was brought as a player. Take note, when they told David to come and play for Saul, it was because Saul used to have madness. Do you know what it means back then for a king to be mad? You are taken out. So it's usually a secret. Just like how president's sickness is hidden.
Yeah.
Are you understanding what I'm saying? If you ever hear they say a president is in a coma or a president is in a dying state, know that it's already a state that can no longer be covered.
Okay.
In fact, if you are up there and it is known that you pass other information, you are killed.
Yes.
Have you ever heard that a president is dying and having malaria? Does it mean they don't get sick? That's discretion. Because that information will only destroy the system.
It bring embarrassment
and it will create more harm than good. There are things of casualties, some things that even in mass communication, they'll tell you that you have to first of all withhold that information.
Gatekeeping.
Yes. A while to avoid panic. There's something you announce now and people will scatter the whole place. Are you understanding what I'm saying? That's what we're trying to say. This is the wisdom that we're trying to say. Now, David has seen Saul mad twice. And not only mad.
When he was playing the harp.
And when he got mad, he tried to kill David. Yet David has never passed that information out.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew. So David, now take note, this is David who knows that he will one day be king. In fact, David knows that Saul has been rejected.
He had been anointed
as king.
So he waited.
He would have gone around. In fact, that's opportunity to say that when a king would have keep it on a madman. I have proof.
God, this is great.
I have proof.
This is amazing.
But you see, God at that point in time is testing David's discretion. And discretion.
His respect for royalty, for the throne.
For that very throne you will sit on. And that is why the day he sat on it and made mistake, his very people also covered him. Do you know it was David sent but his own people to go and take somebody's wife?
Yeah.
Do you know he sent but some people to go and kill somebody? Now that would have been called for an insurrection. But the very people knew the principle of discretion. That you sign your allegiance to a throne, not to a person. You're not understanding me. Secret Service does not protect but Trump or Obama or Biden. There are people who have protected all three. Have you gotten me?
Yeah.
You are not protecting that man. You are protecting that office.
The seat.
So whoever is there, you are protecting it.
The allegiance is to the
Yes,
seat.
to the seat, to the throne, to the system.
And it's the same way in your office. Your allegiance is to the system
To
in
the
that
system.
office. And that's why you need to apply discretion.
There are people that everything that happens at their job place, they have run around and said it. Say it somewhere. And you wonder why they are not promoted in the office.
And even in the church.
Oh, I don't want to get there. I've been avoiding this church thing because when I go there, they'll say that that's
Yeah,
because that's your own.
protecting,
That's your
yeah.
own. They'll say, "Oh, you are covered." Now, I want to show you this. You have seen also that David's men were discreet. Last example of David being discreet. Do you know that when Saul dies, one of the most beautiful psalms that David ever wrote in his life, he wrote about to Saul.
Really?
His sworn enemy. Oh, how are the mighty fallen? Describing the grandeur of Saul. Describing how Saul does not miss with his spear. Describing, in fact, when they came and told David that Saul is dead, the first thing David wrote in that psalm is that don't mention it to the hidden. Don't tell the hidden that this is what has happened. It will be a mockery to the throne. It will be a mockery to God. This is David protecting his enemy, not his enemy, because he's protecting that throne.
Which he will one day sit on.
Whether are you getting it? He knows the power of that throne. So he's there saying that, look, this is not information that other countries need to hear. Because they can come attack us now.
Yeah.
For them to know the throne is vacant. Don't mention this out there.
This is good.
When we preach this, some people will say that we are protecting the church, covering the evils of the church. The highest ministry that knows the power of discretion is the Catholic Church. And that's why they have stood the test of time. The power of discretion. I can say that one of the most despicable acts and abuse of power has happened in the Catholic Church. Yet, they are still standing. Why? Because even when a priest will commit fault here, the first thing they will do is to take him off and send him somewhere else while he's being rehabilitated. They will never come out to destroy priesthood by announcing the weakness of an individual, which will reflect the weakness of a system. That's not true. Because a person in a system can be wrong, that does not make the system
because
bad.
a system has its ideal ways it should go, how it ought to be.
Yes.
But an individual can come with all human biases and
so they know that destroying the character of that priest is not destroying just that individual, it's destroying that office. And people will, the day that even the perfect person stands there, people will not respect it.
I like this.
That's discretion.
Because they will use the judgment of the former too.
It's so sad that it's the very church people who have been the greatest announcers of the weaknesses of the church.
Without giving room for rehabilitation.
Does it mean that we allow evil pass? No, that's not what we are saying. But there is a wisdom called discretion that needs to be applied in the family, in the home. You must look at something bigger than yourself. One person came to me, I think let me just share the story. I think we're coming to the end. Somebody came to me and was describing that, she was so mad at something that happened. I said, look, so she was so angry that the pastor was trying to cover it up. I said, no, look, it was not covering up. What if they talked about this and announced it and it destroys the faith of 1,000 people? Just because somebody offended you, you prefer to destroy the faith of 1,000 people. That's selfishness on your part. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Did he try to solve it behind the scenes? Yes, that is important. It's not just because of that. It's because that office also holds an allegiance to the system. Because people's faith hangs on the balance. People's faith hangs on the balance. So the king knows this. People of the world knows this. They know what it means. That's why they value it. And this is a trait that can take you to places you will not believe. And every system recognizes this. This is beyond gift, skill. You see, skill, you can give someone who does not have it. But there are some traits that you cannot give to somebody. And discretion is one. It has to be built among them, inside them.
Hope you had an amazing time on today's episode of Sacred Success. Like the name goes, we go deeper into the fountain of wisdom, which is the Bible, to link you to great destinies who've applied such things and their lives were better. Take the rendezvous for next time. It's been myself, Anyi Makomone, and you.
And I am Apostle Left 45.
Bye-bye.
Bye.